Good afternoon, Westminster Church family. I'm coming to you this month with a session update from the last month. And really, over the months of August and September, the future building plans and our capital campaign extension, which we gave you an update on this past Sunday, were a key item for discussion. And so that's what I want to focus on today. And I've asked Paul Rogers, a member of our capital campaign committee, to join me today as we review a couple of questions. And first, Paul, I'd love to just ask you, why did Westminster's session decide to extend this capital campaign another 3 years?
Yeah, well, as we got into this final year, especially 2024, of the original 3-year campaign, we were in a position to really see not only what was pledged, what was coming in, which by God's grace and the generosity of the congregation is well above even what was pledged. And as we saw what the costs would be to finish up the fellowship hall and do all the site work and things like that, we were in a good spot to say what's next and how do we get there. And so as we looked at the annex property, which was not known to us when we started this whole process, as well as the fact that the vision for what we need to do hasn't changed.
Right.
We need to increase our ministry space by about 50%. And but we needed to look at what the Lord had provided, including the new building in the annex. And so a subcommittee was put together to examine some of these ideas. So that would include the annex, which makes the most sense to use as a youth facility. The gym, which gives us office space, would be great to get all our pastors in one place and some other things, as well as classrooms. And then the potential of using the Reformation room space in a little bit more of an efficient way with the second story, which gives us more classrooms and still gives us a Reformation room-like space up above. And so as we looked at the math there, we were pleasantly surprised at the estimates that we got and realized that with about $3 million, we could accomplish all of that, which is considerably less than the original master plan. And so it just made sense to say, looking at the fact that we already had some pledges out until 2027, to extend that campaign to allow people who weren't here in 2021 to join with us, for those that did pledge last time to extend a pledge or do what they could. And so that was the decision that was made.
Yeah, I so appreciate that, Paul. And I think one of the things that's been so encouraging is the fact that we've been able to do everything we've done without taking on debt so far. Session remains very committed to doing that. And you couple that commitment with the opportunity that's now in front of us for so much less money, with the incredible generosity that this congregation has shown. I think this was a natural decision. But maybe looking then to a second question, ask, how do we think about pledges? Why would Westminster ask for pledges, and how do we think about that?
Yeah, so it was interesting the first time around. This whole capital campaign thing was fairly new to me. And the idea of asking for pledges and things like that seemed somewhat foreign. But it was very clear right away why we would ask for that. When you think about how long we've been working on the fellowship hall back here, it's a long project, complicated construction project. And if we had gone into that not really knowing what we might get from the congregation, it would not only be irresponsible, but it would just be just not good use of resources. So what the pledges do is give us a way to say, okay, based on what we're seeing, circumstances can change. But the other thing that I was so impressed with from our congregation as we embarked on the original campaign was, as we sat with people, I realized how seriously people were taking the idea of, no, I'm making a pledge here. This is my good faith promise. And we want people to do that. At the same time, we also understand and recognize that jobs can be lost,
Yeah.
circumstances can be changed, health challenges arise, all of those things. They can also go the other way.
Yeah.
You know, someone who said at the beginning of the capital campaign, I just can't do it right now. God changed their circumstances, and then they were happy to do that. So it's a planning tool for us, first and foremost. For me personally, it was a way to challenge my own habits and thinking. When we sat down and said, well, this is what we're going to try to do, we broke it. For us, it was most helpful to do it on a monthly basis. So that was a commitment for me, and it was just like my mortgage. This is first fruits. I'm giving this to the Lord's work. So that was very helpful for me. Because I'm the type of person that if it's not automatic or scheduled, I'll tend to forget about it, or I'll find some other use for that. So that's primarily why we would ask for it. It's not a binding legal contract, but it is a extremely helpful planning tool for us as we go forward.
That's great, Paul. Thank you. Well, then maybe at this point, then how can we pledge? Tell us how moving forward we can do this practically.
So what we'll kind of recommend this time around, because we've progressed a little bit in our technological capabilities. So we have an online pledge form now. We had the QR code up during the meeting. We'll have that available, I would assume, in the bulletin and other places as well. It's on our website. You can get to that form. It's very easy. I went ahead and did our pledge that way as part of the testing process and got an email confirmation right away. It's confidential. That pledge form goes to June Robinson. And so we would encourage people to use that. However, a letter is on its way from you on behalf of Session and everyone that's worked on this, just giving people some of this background. And also we've enclosed a physical pledge form, which, as you can see, the QR code is on there as well. So people can use the physical card, particularly those who may be more comfortable with that or are just a little bit skittish about online forms. It's the same information. And probably the easiest way to get this back to us would be in an envelope. You can just drop it in the offering plate. It could be mailed back to us, which will come to the office and go to June. It could also be dropped off in person here at the office. But I would highly encourage the online form. And we do want to say that a pledge is not the only method of giving. If there are folks who say, I'm not sure enough to pledge an amount, but I know I'm going to give, can I still do that? Sure.
Of course.
Our giving envelopes still have a capital campaign line. Checks can be designated capital campaign. Our online giving platform has the capital campaign fund available, and that fund will stay open for those 3 years at least. So,
Well, thanks so much, Paul. I really appreciate you taking the time. And for those of you who might have more questions, we realized we didn't have a lot of time for questions last Sunday, but we're going to offer 2 opportunities. First, this Sunday, October 13th, after the 11 o'clock service at 12:15, if you go right down the stairs under the sanctuary to room LL1, Paul will be there as well as a member of the building committee. And then this coming Wednesday, October 16th at 5:30 in room 126, just down from the gym, Paul and another member of the building committee again will be there. If you have questions either about our plans, what we're doing, or how to pledge, or about the capital campaign, we'll be there to answer these questions. So thanks so much for joining us, and I'll talk to you next month.